And the other piece under a job well done is a thank you to Lorna for the newsletter that everyone has had in their mail. She was the editor-in-chief with some help from some other folks, putting it together and proofing it and people getting it out, but just a job well done, and I've heard positive comments on it, so would like to recognize that. If there's nothing else, I would we'll go to the approval of the minutes. And I first move we approve the minutes for May 21st. Second. Is there any discussion on the minutes?
Yes. At the end of that one, the executive session, we just have a motion to adjourn. There's nothing reflective of any action that was taken or any decisions that were made. It's just a motion to, we don't have a motion to enter, we don't have a motion to exit, we just have a motion to adjourn. Did we not do an executive session back?
We do not, so motion to adjourn and did we meet in session that night? Or was that a special executive session?
Calendar.
I don't think you did.
I think we were meeting on another night. Do you remember that one?
That's what I remember, so I highlighted it because I was after we have.
We met after the special town meeting.
Right.
That was,
Which was just
which was the following
the
day.
next day.
right.
I don't think we had.
I don't believe we met that night.
An executive
session line and those meeting minutes and then should adjourn from the meeting and not from executive session.
Okay. Any objection to the
No,
correction?
so we just have to delete the executive session. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as amended?
Yes.
Melanie, Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so it's 4 yes and 1 absent. And then the next one, I move we approve the meeting for the minutes of the Board of Selectmen in the special meeting and executive session held on May 22nd.
Second.
Any discussion on the minutes from that meeting?
Yes. Once again, you have a motion to enter executive session and we just have completed and signed, but we don't have votes. So we should have something with the evaluation votes.
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
So
Melanie,
we
I'm
should
sorry.
have something there with, because we did make a decision and then what were the votes on that decision?
So you're saying we should have a count of votes on that?
We should. Because we made the decision.
Okay, are you talking executive session or are you talking in the regular meeting?
Executive session.
Okay. So, we can amend that. We did have the vote to enter and exit. The question I had is, the motion to approve the contract. Did we approve the contract at that meeting or that was not to approve the contract? Oh, we were to approve the contract. My question was, at the special meeting, do we have anything saying that the town voted to support the bond issue? And that was not in this select board meeting. It was
The special meeting was at this select board meeting was after.
so we should have minutes from the special meeting itself where we voted to support which bonding for the money, correct?
We have the motion to approve the contract as presented.
But
No, but that's the contract with Sheraton.
that's a contract with Sheridan. This is for the select board meeting and the select board executive session. But we should also have meeting for the the special public town meeting. Don't we do minutes for that?
Yes,
We do, and I have them.
That's reflected.
Oh, you have them,
Yeah, I did the minutes from town meetings.
okay,
Thank you.
so could we have, we'll have those
Yeah,
for
they're
next meeting?
posted already, but I will send them on to you.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that was my question, was, I'm like, wait a minute, where are we in
No
here?
problem.
So that would cover the special town
The
meeting.
special town meeting portion, then we had our special select board meeting, and then we had our executive session.
Right. So. Was there a question, Melanie, about not seeing votes for this one?
Yeah, because we should have, to make a decision what the votes were on that decision.
I don't know that we did that when we recorded what our decision that we made.
Right, because we was saying that previously.
I can't hear you, Melanie, sorry.
What was the date that we did the approval of the, what we were going on?
Of the what?
What our offer was that after the other meeting? Was that after this one? Because we didn't go to make that decision.
I'm not sure.
I don't understand the questions. What's the question?
So the date that we made the decision that we then acted upon at the executive session after the special town meeting.
Concerning the town manager's contract.
Yes.
So maybe we did have a short executive committee meeting after the 21st.
Yeah, because I think we were, we were like, oh, 8:30 before 8:30.
Oh, so maybe that's why that executive
Maybe
meeting is on there. Apologies, we're going on memory here. Hang in there with us.
Some people remember, so remember when we had executive session. That's what we're trying.
After the 21st, I think you see.
21st was one.
The last select board meeting, regular.
On Tuesday.
That's May. Let me get back. Yeah, it would be May. May 21st. Because we had the special session on the 22nd.
I can check my notes because I think I was the one who submitted these minutes, right?
Yes.
So but it's on a different piece of paper than I said on everything.
Okay.
This is what I had, so I can double check to see if I included it.
So do we want to suspend the approval of those minutes until we get them clarified so that the record is clear?
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Okay, so I move that we suspend the approval of the minutes of May 21st until we get the exact.
22nd.
I mean, no, the 21st. Because the
Oh,
22nd,
because the 21st, we might have had an.
we had,
executive session.
we must have had a short executive session. And then the 22nd, I think that's what we did.
Okay, I can go back and check the records.
But, so let's suspend the approval of the minutes for May 21st.
That's a motion.
That's a motion.
Second?
Second, all in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Cool.
And we'll get that clarified, table that until next meeting. And then at the same, now this one we know is right,
Yes.
because we approved the contract. And then we
But I thought you were asking for a vote count
Right,
for the 22nd.
That's why I was like, where do the votes fall? Because we usually have a 4, 1, a 3, 2.
do we do that with one executive session?
I don't think so.
I don't think we have,
Because
but
in executive session, you're making a decision when you come out, you're
just saying
stating,
what action you took.
right, stating the action, whether you took action and what it was or
Or we
no
didn't
action.
take action.
Right, I can go back and check on this because I don't have that page with me.
Okay. Okay. Everyone good? Okay,
So we're gonna, are we going to table this one
I
as
can
well?
we table that one as
Yeah.
well.
So we have the phone.
Yeah.
So we have the other minutes.
Okay. All right, okay,
Do you want a motion and a vote to table May 22?
yes, we'll wait on May 22 as well.
Do you want a motion and a vote to do that?
Oh,
I wait to table the minutes, May 22.
okay,
Thanks.
all in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so 5 yeses. Okay, I move the open unfinished business.
Second. Sorry, I was looking at it.
So the first, Lorna, do you want to take us through?
Sure, so at your last regular meeting, we talked about getting a .gov domain name. So I contacted the state and submitted the name that you all had decided upon, which was townofbelgrade.gov. It doesn't follow their policy guidelines, and they said that we need to have a main.gov address. So they suggested belgrade.main.gov. And I told them that you all were meeting tonight, you would discuss and vote.
Okay. Anyone have any on this or on an alternative?
I don't have any strong feelings, be right there, the, other towns that have gone to this domain, what have they done? Cause I'm thinking like Anthony talked about going to a .gov domain, but am I correct in thinking that the same thing would apply to them? They wouldn't have a Winthrop-Maine.gov, they'd probably have a Winthrop.Maine.gov.
Correct.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, I was
Town of Winthrop or whatever.
talking in American.
Yeah, no,
That's okay.
I know.
Yeah, I was just questioning that as well, because I've never seen the Belgrade, well, .maine.gov. I've always seen like belgrademaine.gov. So I was just questioning why
Right,
they wanted the dot in there, and is that gonna be confusing to people?
So a .gov doesn't mean it falls under main.gov.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
just
So
it's just like .com or .org or, it's not it doesn't fall under the main.gov umbrella. With the state, does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, I think I can help answer this. So if it were just Belgrade.gov, there would be nothing in that domain address that would say, is this Belgrade, Maine, or Belgrade, Montana, or some other Belgrade? So by delineating it this way, I believe is what we were told, what Lauren was told was this follows the domain convention, which says under the .gov, you go to the state and then the town.
Okay,
Barbara?
I guess it's the extra dot in there that I'm just wondering why that has to be, why can't it just be Belgrade?
Did you have your hand raised, Anthony? Yes, he does. Anthony.
Yeah. So this is really simple, folks. You can have belgrade.gov or townofbelgrade.gov if you just don't go through the state in order to get that domain name. So you don't have to go through the state of Maine in order to do this. There are other ways to tackle this so that you can make your URL simpler. And again, I speak from experience because soon we're going to be where I work, winthrop-maine.gov. We didn't go through the state in order to do that. All you have to do is, Google how you add a .gov domain, and you can do that very simply without going through the state and then lengthening your domain name.
Barbara, do you have?
Well, I was
any
just
other-
looking, trying to see what I could come up with, and Waterville is Waterville-ME.gov.
I thought at your last meeting, you all wanted to be under that umbrella for the state of
Maine.gov.
Maine for security and all of that sort of thing, but if you don't, then you can simply do a
Do what you
.gov.
want.
instead of .com or .org.
My first thing, get away from .com, .org, get into .gov. That'd be my first.
Is there an advantage, you're more the security person than I am, is there an advantage to main.gov over .gov? From your
From
experience?
a URL naming perspective, I don't know that there's any great advantage.
Okay,
I
All
can't
right.
think of one right now.
But from
Okay.
a security, does it give us any greater security if we go,
Like
if we go through this, if we go through this state with main dot and do main.gov as opposed to
Not
just.
that I know of. No,
okay,
but getting to a .gov domain is like,
is what's important. Okay, so what does the board think they want? Belgrade-main.gov or Belgrade.main.gov
Can we do town of Belgrade?
or town of Belgrade?
Since now when you Google town of Belgrade, townofbelgrade.com comes up, so if we still do townofbelgrade.gov. It seems the easiest transition.
I still have the word main in there. Even if you don't put the dot between it,
Which
you're still,
town of Belgrade is. It might be like Anthony,
Town of Belgrade-main.gov.
it might be Belgrade, Montana.
Right, because right now.
I think that makes
town
it-
of Belgrade.com.
Right.
Yes.
Maybe.
Sometimes when I Google Belgrade, it does come up out of.
You do come up with.
I think that makes it
other
awfully
terms.
long.
Town of Belgrade-main.com.
Town of Belgrade, main.gov, that seems to make it awfully long.
What about Belgrade, Maine.gov?
Yeah.
I like.
I
No
think that,
extra dot in there, just Belgrade, Maine.gov. It says our town.
Right.
It says state of Maine.
Augusta is augustamain.gov.
okay,
I like Belgrade, Maine,
that works for me. Can I have a motion, someone?
I move that we approve to request the domain name. Do we request it or do we just announce it now?
It's a,
It
Do
makes
we
sure
still have
that
to
we can
request
do
it, make sure nobody else has it,
Right,
that we request the domain name of belgrademain.gov.
Second.
okay. Any more discussion?
I would offer this, that Belgrade, Montana goes by BelgradeMT.gov.
Belgrade, what, oh, MT?
for Montana.
So we
Okay.
definitely don't want to do Belgrade ME.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a T and E, then we're really in trouble.
Barbara, you're just Belgrade, Maine.
No, got it. Okay. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so that by guesses. Well, we can go from there. All right, and our next item is the Civic Plus website renewal. And Lorna, do you want to?
Sure, at our last meeting, we requested someone from Civic Class be present for the meeting tonight so that they might be able to answer any questions you have. And we have David Hall on Zoom, who is an account executive with Civic Plus. Welcome.
Hi.
So maybe give an overview of the website, David, and then I'm sure the board will have questions for you.
Sure. I would say part of this renewal, you might see a price increase. What that has to do with, we're moving from the latest version of your content management system from Drupal 7 to Drupal 10. It was a pretty large jump in technology. So what we're having to do is, sort of manually migrate everybody from the old version to the newest version. At that time, you can decide to do additional design changes to the site, change the way it looks and is laid out. With that update comes a bunch of new features, easier to use, easier to manage on the back end of things. And so with that update comes this price increase with your renewal.
Okay.
David, are we looking at a 5% increase for this year and a 5% increase for next year? Are we looking at a 5% increase for now and then it's gonna level up?
It's 5% annually.
But is this year's just a 5% increase, or is it, I thought it was substantially more.
Oh, the price increase associated with the migration. Once that happens, it's just 5% annually, as it was before.
Right. So, there were some questions about some of the capability of your product that are past my skill level, but I know there were some questions about things that capability to push some things. I don't know if Peter or Laura, someone wants to ask those questions of the things that we were wanting to make sure we could do.
I know one of the things we requested, that you said was not available is when you create an event on the website, it does not push out a notification like when you do a something news or a file or form, those seem to push out e-subscriber notifications, but when you create an event on the event calendar, it does not. And there are ways around it, but it would make sense that you wouldn't have to do 2 or 3 different things to get the e-subscriber notification.
Yeah, that issue would be solved with the latest version of the content management system, where you create any number of groups that you'd like, and residents would log into their portal, select all the groups that they're interested in, and then when you create content relating to one of those groups, you can push it out to those subscribers.
And when does the upgrade take effect?
So it's you guys are probably going to be like Q4 of 24, if not Q1 of 25. Could be sooner. It's just it happens in batches.
So we're paying a big increase this year, and we may not get this upgrade until next year.
I think that's what he's saying.
Or the fall, 4th quarter.
Right, fall or.
So we renew in what, July?
Yes.
So we renew in July at the higher rate, but we may not get the advantage of that until 1st quarter.
Yeah, I mean, what I could do is just tell them to push it off the rate increase. I mean, typically, they're supposed to wait for the rate increase when they do the migration, but you know, the migration schedule has fallen behind, so I could just send them a request, say, hey, push out the price increase till next year. It's not a problem.
So, quick question. So we are talking about calendar year, right? Not fiscal.
I'm talking calendar year, yeah.
Okay. Great. Go ahead.
But we renew in July, which is,
Right. I'm wondering.
which is like to me, that's like a contract year. Every July, that's gonna go up 5%. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if you push this out, would we stay at the same rate until we get the upgrade?
That's correct.
Is that what you're asking? So then we'd really be probably January or February of every year, we'd have a 5% increase.
No, it would align with your fiscal year, with your current. We would have it align with your current contract, with your fiscal year starting in July.
So David, are you saying no increase then? So when we sign this contract for July, we wouldn't see a 5% increase until July of 2025 and the migration is complete? Or would we see a smaller increase this year and then jump to 25?
Yeah, you'd probably just see the 5% increase this year in July, and then the larger increase when the migration happens.
So this last year, we paid $2,025.
Right.
We'd pay a 5% increase on that amount in July, which would be the normal increase.
Right.
And then we'll pay the additional increase once they combine.
And our fiscal year is January 1.
Right, our fiscal year is a calendar year, January 1, December 31.
Yeah, that's good timing then.
Okay, so just so I'm clear.
Will you send a new bill, a new contract and billing for that?
So have you received that that quote of the price increase?
Yes.
You have? Okay. Lorna, can you send me the email who that came from?
Yes.
So I can reach out to them directly and just say, hey, we're gonna wait for this until the migration happens, you know, Q1 or your new fiscal year in January. It hasn't been a problem to do that, so I don't anticipate any problems.
Sure.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions on their capability? I know some of you there were things you were asking about last time, and that's not my skill set.
So I think what we talked about so far tonight was that push notifications would be, that we talked about our concerns would be more easily solved by going to Drupal 10. Is that correct? Is it David?
Yeah, I that from the use cases you just mentioned, yeah, that is correct. I know that you guys were also looking into our purpose-built mass notification software, Civic Ready, that just has a lot more capabilities. You know, it comes with an app, geo-targeting exactly who you want to send those messages out to, voice calls for emergencies, NOAA weather alerts, automatic language translation. It's for routine and emergency communications. So
Are those add-ons or are those part of the upgrade?
that is a separate software that I believe I quoted you. It is about 3,500, 3,000, or around 3,000 per year for that.
In addition to the new rate, so we'd be at 63 or 4 or 500.
So that's a nice feature. I think Winthrop has it. So it's text. So instead of getting email, you can sign up to get text alerts, which is really super useful.
Well, we'd have to look at that in budget next year.
Yes.
Right.
Is the budget year?
Yeah. And if you don't want to go with the full blown mass communication software, that does have a lot of benefits to it. But the newest version of the content management system, you can add text alerts to your Notify Me as well, a part of the website. And that is like $550 for a block of 20,000 text messages.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. So David, the only other question I have is really having to do with training. Want to make sure that, because I think in the last contract, the exhibit A talks about, some things, including website design, implementation, content development, and user training, very important. Want to make sure that if we do what we think we're doing, that the staff here feels comfortable being able to use a content management system to update web pages as they see fit. I want to make sure that there's that aspect there. So
absolutely. The newest version is just way simpler than the older version that you're on, and there is unlimited training for all staff. There's no limit to the amount of training that you can receive.
And is that
also built into the content management system with this newest version? You're going to have all of these training materials built in on your main dashboard. So you can go to any particular section, say, how do I, post a select board meeting? And it'll show you can step by step with a click by click tutorial on how to do that on each content creation. It's all
Okay.
right there.
That's helpful to know that. And then availability of speaking to someone live in case there was something that was kind of uncomfortable. Would there be an ability to reach someone from your team?
Also on the dashboard is a training schedule. You can just select a time and a date. I believe it happens two or three times a week. And there's unlimited. It's where you can meet with a live person. Ask
Understood.
those questions. Yeah.
Understood. Okay.
Anyone else have any questions? Mary, do you have any question? I know that.
I don't think.
No, okay, all right.
Any concerns?
No,
Okay.
I mean, there are some things that I didn't find very user friendly. But maybe being able to access with this new, that it'll make it a little bit easier.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that user-friendly training will be with the upgrade.
Dan, what do you have to say about it?
I kind of agree with Mary. Sometimes it's a little convoluted to get things done. And I haven't always had the easiest time finding out how to do things. But if it's gonna make it easier, that would make my life a little bit easier.
It sounds like the upgrade will do much better.
You're talking about the back end?
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole layout is just much simpler, easier. I can give you a little teaser if you want.
Sure. Dude, tease us, please.
Let's see here.
Well, you set that up, David. Can I just ask, I think what I'm hearing is like if someone is trying to upload information, say Dan for the rec department. If he has an issue getting the information across, I think what Peter was asking, is there the ability for them to reach out to someone in live time, like a live time chat or a walkthrough, or will they have to wait for a couple of days and then get into a training? I think we want to be sure that someone can help troubleshoot something on our schedule as well as yours.
Yeah, I mean, you're assigned a customer success manager that you can reach out to. You'll have their contact information. You can always call me. There is a chat. There is Zendesk email support tickets. There's multiple different channels. There's the tech support line that you could call. There's a lot of different ways you can get help.
Okay, great.
I was like, I think that's where we were going.
I think so.
We don't want to wait 3 days.
Do we want to vote on this? Or do we want to wait for the new contract to vote?
We gotta wait for the
Wait for the new contract?
Vote on that.
Okay, all right.
Right.
If you could get that out to us, David, and we'll, work forward from there.
And
The
that sounds great.
What's that?
The new contract with just the 5% increase that will be due in July for the renewal.
Oh, right. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is just reach out to the team and tell them to push off the price increase till, closer to your migration date. And once that happens, it should just automatically generate with that 5% sent out July 1st.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll make sure.
I get that, so make sure that we have that straightened out.
Because we're due July 1st, so that can't push until July 1st.
Yeah, most importantly, push that price increase out.
Right. Okay.
And then were you going to tease us?
Yeah, it's a little slow right now.
So while David's calling that up, may I suggest maybe another way to approach this?
Sure.
Why don't you guys just authorize the town manager to execute the contract once it's received, assuming that it has the terms to which you've agreed upon tonight? That seems like a more efficient way of operating than bringing this back for a third time for a discussion before the board.
What does the board feel?
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine. Anyone else?
As long as it's the 5% over what we paid this year.
Yep.
I don't know.
Long span of agreement? Okay,
We're just extending the contract another year. as well.
Yeah.
right.
We're not reinventing anything.
We're not reinventing anything. Okay, I move that we authorize the town manager to sign the contract, providing what comes back with the terms that we've agreed on this evening.
Maybe just forward that contract out to the board so we all see it too.
Sure.
I second that.
I second that. Any more discussion? Melanie,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Barbara,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes, so that's 5 yeses. Are you ready to tease us now, David?
I am not. I'm having trouble with my sign in.
It's
My,
not a more pleasant
my
feeling over here.
Microsoft.
It's gonna be so much cooler. I can only access it.
It is. I could send a video on that section. And you can distribute it, but I'll send that out to Lorna.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
No problem. And David, I want to thank you for your time, and there's nothing like being in the hot seat and doing a live demo on the fly and then having to say what you just said. So I feel you.
Yeah.
Is this the voice
No
experience?
Absolutely. Test, and then, you know,
Yeah.
nothing.
Okay, all right.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys.
Back on one thing. I
Yeah.
think in our last meeting when we were discussing perhaps a second website, I believe that it was stated that some of the town stuff was already being manually uploaded to a new site. So if that's the case, we want to pull that out.
It's all stuff that's already on our website and available to the public.
Okay, but we shouldn't
Downloading
two
from-
things.
Oh, no, nothing's live. It's
No.
just a template in the works, if you will. It's nothing live. There's no domain, there's nothing.
Okay, okay. Okay, all right. Okay, I move we open new business.
Second.
Thank you.
And the first item is Laura Richter, who is notified us she's not able to be here tonight, but she will be here next week, our next meeting. So I move we table Laura Richter's appointment until next meeting. All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yep.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. That's 5. The next one is the monthly department committee presentation. Mr. McGlashan, you are on.
Hello, Dan McGlashing. Thanks for having me again. So things are kicking up a bit, as you can tell in the village. We had our first craft fair the last weekend in May, or Memorial Day weekend, and it was very, very well attended. Our after school programs chugging along strong. If you saw, we got the dates out for our concert series and the craft fairs in the newsletter, thanks to Lorna. That's a huge help, and I think we're gonna receive less phone calls because of that. Which is great.
Good.
Then, we're really gearing up for summer camp, pretty full staff. Well, pending like two interviews this week, we'll be in good shape for all our kids. We're kind of restructuring summer camp to have a kindergarten group and then a first, second, and third grade group, fourth, fifth, and sixth grade group. And then the kids that would have been at Camp Loon have an opportunity to volunteer instead of going to what would have been camp. So they still have an opportunity, but it's just going to be a bit different. That's to help with managing the younger kids because they're harder to manage. Victoria, the assistant director that started has been incredible. It's given me a lot more opportunities to do other projects and work with other groups to basically get more business and more interest in recreation. Like the sailing group from Belgrade, and yeah, we're building a lot of connections right now with other groups, which is important. And I just wanted to say that the facilities maintenance have been doing a fantastic job maintaining all the town properties. Especially the village green, it's super important for my events and it looks immaculate. Yeah, business is good. people are happy.
Making money,
Good things.
Yeah,
All
all good things.
can reinvest back into more stuff.
And the pool will be open by the end of the week.
By the end of this week?
That's,
Woo-hoo.
yeah, it's supposed to be cleaned and open this week, so.
Okay, sweet. We can push that notification out, however, not do it the back way, right?
Let's wait until it happens.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Wait till it's there, okay. Does anyone, have any questions for Dan, or?
I just have a quick question. How are the registrations coming in for summer camp?
Oh, that's a great question. So we're full on 4 weeks
Wow.
of camp.
Really?
And we have one of the weeks we have 12 spots left, but we capped it at 75 and we have a wait list of up to 82 on, that's kind of like our area that we want to stay in. So yeah, we're looking like we're gonna have a full summer. And
That's
if you count some of the kids that would have been in Camp Loon that are now gonna be volunteers, it's relatively the same amount of kids, except they're gonna be helping more now than the alternative.
Okay, that's tremendous. Yeah,
I have another question.
yes,
The programs like that take place at the Center for All Seasons, like the pickleball and the exercise classes and the yoga classes and those things, they don't take place during the summer. Is there any place else that I mean, I know the pickleball goes down to the school.
Yeah.
And is there any other venue for the yoga and
So we're
the
gonna,
exercise classes?
we're gonna be doing Tai Chi,
Really?
with Spectrum Generations. So we work with them and they provide the instructor for us. So it's a partnership and it's a really good deal for the residents, and we pay into Spectrum Generations through during the budget process, so.
Right. Contribution.
We're gonna be getting that back. And we're gonna try to host Tai Chi on the village green. So
when will that be?
I wanna say it would start near the end of the summer, because we just kind of made coordinated with them very recently, like less than a month ago. So it's like I said, another one of those relationships that we're trying to get. And then we do have a yoga class that continues throughout the summer. They do it at the center. They pay for like this session, and that's when we're on field trips, the instructor's there.
So it's the day that the kids aren't at camp.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, and then we have a couple other programs that are gonna take off, like a knit night, and then we have a person that's starting a backgammon night, and we've been working with Mary at the Senior Resource Committee, I think, and getting North Belgrade utilized a bit more too, with more programming.
trying to. Okay, anyone have any questions, anything else for Dan?
Did you get to take any time off?
Yeah, I went to Arizona.
All right, okay, oh, great job, I've heard great things, and I'm sure other people have, so
Check
it's
your calendar.
wonderful to see that.
The concerts are gonna be great this summer. Okay?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great summer.
Good.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, next item is, a street light request for Cathedral Pines.
So, yeah, I've got, there we go. So the North Belgrade Snow Pond Association has made a request for a street light at the entrance of Cathedral Pines Lane. There is a CMP pole there, number 117. I contacted Sheriff Mason to get his recommendation on that, and I included his letter to us, and his recommendation was for safety reasons that the board support that request. I did also reach out to CMP because they have their own set of paperwork. You have to submit a request because we've done this once before. I haven't heard back from them, and we got an estimate late this afternoon for the cost, which would be $995. It would come out of facilities, and Corey said he does have that money available if you decide to go through the
And this light would have the LEDs like we've done the conversion.
I would assume they would
Add
do
more of the bulbs.
It would be the same as what we did at the end. Yes, Wings Mills Road, because we used a leftover light for that, so the cost was less. We would have to purchase the light for this one. That's why it's a little bit more, but still, it's under 1,000. We thought it might be more than that.
Yes, we're looking at one at the parking lot, and it's about $900 with the same company that did the other over.
Yes.
The travel lights.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone have any?
How many streetlights do we have right now at intersections of public roads with private roads versus? So every time I'm trying to place in my head, most everything I can remember are two public roads, main roads coming together. That's where we have them. I don't know if we've ever done one for a private road before.
And normally if we
I don't know.
on a private road, they pay for it and maintain it.
Yeah, I just don't want to set a precedent. I understand the need for safety, but I don't want to set a precedent. All of a sudden, everybody wants a street light at the end of.
At the end of the road. I don't know that answer.
Has anybody done a check and see what there's been for accidents in the last 3 years and that at that intersection?
Is that, I didn't hear what you said.
What there has been for reports of accidents in that at that intersection in the last 3 years?
I asked that of the sheriff's office, but I see he did not include that data in his letter.
Okay. Is that something Jason would know, or
No, or
do we need to do a survey of our?
You can look it up. Main DOT's got a crash. They have a crash.
I'm sorry, about how many lights are at an intersection of a private road and a public road?
Not Jason, they should be able to do it here at town office.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, where they are.
Have the addresses of all of them, because we pay the bill every month.
Right. So we just need to go through and check that. You want to wait till we get that
I'd like to
information?
know. I mean, I understand the need for safety, but again, I don't want
Yeah,
to.
Peter.
I can tell from my personal experience growing up on that road, coming out to Route 11,
Right,
there's a hill that crests,
right,
and sometimes if you're taking a left, if someone's coming over that hill, you may not have a lot of time
right,
before you actually see them. And the other part, if you're taking a right going to Oakland, I'm gonna use Dr. Gieson's name because that's what comes to my mind. So that property right there, and there's some cedar trees.
yeah,
You can't always see that grade from people gunning it to get up the hill to go into Oakland. So I know from personal experience, it can be very risky.
okay,
I'm not saying there are a greater amount of accidents there, but I've seen it.
okay,
A street light's not gonna help that law. There's a lot of issues there in daytime. I had more issues almost getting hit with people coming out of that road in daytime. It's the visibility to see when they come off the road is a lot of their issue.
Yeah.
They need to do some trimming on the end of the road also.
Particularly to the left.
I know the presence has been, I mean, the Wings Mills, the other thing is I don't know if anybody's checked with the neighbors in the area to see if the light is gonna affect the neighbors in the area. That's always the thing, it's always happened when we do a light. And the Wings Mills one was kind of a special thing. It happened, granted, it's two public ways, but that was kind of a special thing that was a very serious public safety thing because of a fatal accident and what takes place, what's been taking place there since that fatal accident. So that's why that light got put up. It was never there before. And the only reason it got put up was because of that and the stuff that was happening with the neighbors in the area because of
right,
being dark.
okay. So, Laura, can you get that information for us? So we'll have it for the next meeting.
Make a motion that we table the discussion of the streetlight requests until the next meeting where we can have some other data to go by.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so 5 yeses. Okay, our next item is the Parks and Recreation Board equipment purchase request.
So I'll go on that. Jamie Dion, I'm the chair of the board of Parks and Rec. We did have a request that came to us from the Messalonskee Cal Ripken Association and from the Kenneth Workman Youth Sports Program. Separate requests for different items. First one is, well, both of them are over at the field, at the working field. First one is a portable pitching mound. There is currently one there. That one is aged. I've been around with Kenneth Workman for over 10 years, and that's been there since I've been there. It is warped. Every time the pitcher pitches, they land in a certain spot and it has a low spot. So it does need to be replaced. There are a lot more leagues using that than Kenneth Workman now. Messalonskee Cal Ripken's using it. The Maine Black Flies are using it. So there are a lot of Belgrade residents utilizing that field now. It is a safety issue for the pitchers. So we're requesting, I believe it's $2,500, which includes shipping. There's a little bit of a buffer in there. I think it was like 2,300 and something. I'm not sure if we can get our tax exempt status as the company that ships it out of state. So I'm not sure exactly how that would work. But the $2,500 give us a little bit of buffer. The other piece of equipment is a fence topper for the chain link fence, which every baseball field has except for ours.
Throw your blankets over it. Put your arms between the things.
It's just a plastic copper, yellow plastic copper that goes across it. We priced out, it needs 600 feet to go across the entire fence length. And we priced out for approximately 800 feet, which gives us a little bit that we can store here for anyone that gets broken, hit by a ball or anything else. So we would have the exact replacement. So that's approximately $1,400 shipped here with the quotes that we got. So total would be approximately $4,000 that we're requesting funding from the reserve fund, or if there's any other funding available for those pieces of equipment.
Okay.
So can I just ask, what is the reserve account? Like, we need to actually put in which reserve account, so it's not just a recreation reserve. There's generally, when reserve accounts are set up, they're set up for special purposes. So what we need to see from the board is this is the amount in this reserve account that is for equipment, or exactly which reserve account. We get a lot of blanket, like there's enough money there to cover. But we don't see exactly what the account is that it's coming out and what the balance of that account is, so that we don't have a surprise and then we're like, whoops, there really wasn't.
Yeah, there's a large 2-day tournament that's happening there on June 25th. So I don't know if it's possible to get approval so we can order that or not, but
we have the ledger page that has the account number 59200 recreation capital.
I had Nick pull the balance so that we could include that. So
I don't know what the definition, what events are, or what expenses are covered by this. This is just a general reserve.
Because it's under capital projects is what this says. So what are the capital projects?
Right.
Well, there's only one recreation reserve account anyway, so everything's.
That's the only.
But the other thing is, I totally support that expense, only because I've had a daughter who pitches, and your mound needs to be correct. It is a risk. It's an insurance risk. It is a town of Belgrade property, and it should be maintained to the best of its ability. I also see the rubberized topper as also another safety issue, because when people are running backwards, even having that yellow topper when they're running balls, you don't want them running into the fence. So they kind of are safety issues that the town should be looking at, because it is a town ball field. So anyway, but there is only one recreation reserve account. And it is
So we have a building reserve.
no,
So
one recreation reserve account.
Okay.
That's it. One.
it's a full 2-day tournament, statewide tournament that Messalonskee Cal Ripken is hosting here on that weekend.
And how many teams are hosted there?
I don't have a list of them, but right now there's quite a few teams playing there.
Usually it's like
Schedule.
15 plus tenures at least,
Yeah.
and so you're gonna have a lot of people there, and
Yeah.
it's important, especially the mound, when you have a picture there, you don't want that foot falling into that hole and taking that dive.
Yeah, it's portable mound. It's the same one that Sydney has. They gave you the recommendation. And so you move it closer for the younger kids, you move it back to the bigger kids. And when softball and t-ball play, you can remove it completely. And it's very portable. It's easily.
And we can get it here in time if you get permission.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very good. Yeah.
good to know that.
No, I just found out about this like 2 weeks ago. I was on vacation and the Calrep team called me and they said, we have a real safety concern. And I asked them to get this put on today's meeting, an emergency meeting last night to discuss it.
Okay.
So I really appreciate the board taking this up so quickly.
Do you have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve $4,000. I know you have the plus or minus, even if it's an out-of-state company, a municipality doesn't pay sales tax, so they have to honor that.
Yeah.
No matter where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, and I didn't know about that, so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I make a motion that the board approves $4,000 to come out of the recreation reserve account to cover the expenses for the fence topper and the portable mound.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion?
No, Mary, just want to say thank you for confirming about the reserve account, because it's always good for us to understand, you know, is there more than one?
And it's been used for multiple things,
Yep.
for equipment, for buildings, it has been used for everything.
I think we're in good shape, I think it's totally worthwhile.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, Dan?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes,
Peter?
Yes.
Melanie?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, so that's 5. Place that order. Give them our tax ID number, whatever we have.
All right,
Thank you.
Okay, yes, good luck. Okay, and our next order of business is the Loon Cove subdivision covenant enforcement request. Lorna?
So Dana, Doran, who is president of the Association of Loon Cove Homeowners, made a request that the select board enforce covenants of the subdivision, Article 1.3. The request and documentation provided was sent to our legal counsel, so Phil took a look at this and provided his comments, which you have. They also suggested that we check to see if there were any conditions tied to the town enforcing the covenants as part of the approval of the subdivision. Both Hans and I pulled the files and looked, Mary found a really thick file in Hans' office, and so we went through and we could not find anything that was part of the approval process. I also checked with George Seal, who was chair of the planning board at that time, and he provided his comments, which you have as well.
Okay, do we have anyone here who wants to speak to this?
I can speak to it if you'd like. So I'm Dana Duran, president of the association. I live in Loon Cove. So I provided an email to Laura. I can go through that if you would like. Or I can summarize if that would be helpful.
I think summarize.
have all the material.
We've read it. Yeah.
Just a brief summary. So I've lived in the association since 2012. The association was approved as a subdivision by the town of Belgrade in 1987. It's the former Camp Belgrade property. And talking to Tim O'Donnell, who was the attorney of record, but also the developer at the time, with O'Donnell and Lee and Waterville, the covenants were essentially written and there were provisions put in the covenants as a requirement of the subdivision approval by the planning board. So that's why you see, if you go to the covenants, you'll see a 1.18. Town selectmen have the ultimate authority for whether it's enforcement or determination. So we had a discussion because of a situation that has come up where a property owner within the subdivision has listed their property on VRBO. It's been the understanding of the property owners who have been there since the beginning that short-term rentals were not allowed. You could rent your home to a single family, and that's how the covenant was written. And single family was allowed, and now there's been it wasn't even a request, we just learned that one of the property owners wanted to list their property with the RBO. In bringing that to the attention of that property owner, the property owner believes that covenant is not explicit to that they can rent their property for short-term purposes. So we took it back to O'Donnell and Lee, asked for their consult. O'Donnell and Lee has provided a memo back to the association. Their sense is that short-term rentals would be a business activity, which would be against the covenants. And so we're in this situation now where the association is essentially said as a group, we're not experienced, nor at this point do we have enough information to make a determination of the association. We believe the covenants ultimately go to the selectmen. So the group voted about 3 weeks ago to have the selectmen make a determination on whether the activity is allowed or not. I don't think the association is looking for enforcement. The association is looking for a determination. Does the select board ultimately have approval per the subdivision approval back in 1987? O'Donnell and Lee seems to think that we have not gone through the file, that the covenants were written the way they were written because the planning board required the select board to have ultimate approval. And that's why that's in there. So effectively, that's what I brought before you for consideration. Whether you choose to enforce or not, that is completely up to the Board of Selectmen, or whether you punt it back to the association.
Okay.
I'm also here if you guys, I'm the homeowner in question. If I could speak for just a moment.
Shirley, you want to know who you are?
Yeah, my name is Kate Irvin. So I own 155 Loon Call Drive, which is part of that subdivision. So yeah, my husband and I did elect to put the property on VRBO this year. We had consulted with 3 different law firms, to be honest, because I really wanted to be totally sure. They all gave us the opinion that according to the covenants, we were well within our rights to rent it short-term because the covenants don't specify short versus long-term, but they do specify that you can rent it. And they do specify that a rental is not considered a business. We have no intention of making this a business in any sense. We're renting it for a couple of weeks this summer to help cover our taxes for the place. And we're not intending on letting our renters use any of the association, buildings or grounds. They're going to be completely limited to our property. So we just feel like we're well within our rights as property owners to do so. And that's our position. But thank you for your attention. I really appreciate your consideration.
Is there anyone else who has anything they want to say?
Yes. So, my name is Nick Bernate. I'm an attorney at Murray, Plum and Murray. I'm working with Andy and KMS. I just want to sort of note that I've had a chance to read Phil Saucier's memo. And really the issue here is basically whether the select persons have the obligation or right to interpret or otherwise enforce these private covenants. And I do think there's an opportunity to resolve this with the homeowners association for sure, but I don't know that it's the town's position to do that. So hopefully we can work this out. But notwithstanding what the covenants may say, the town is not a party to private covenants and therefore doesn't have the ability to enforce them. And my guess is probably wouldn't want to.
Am I correct? You're representing Ms. Irving? You're the attorney for the owner.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
Dana?
Just add one further point that has nothing to do with the rental. It has to do with the covenants. So the covenants, if you read them again, whether they were subject to approval of the planning board back in 1987, I think is up for debate. But our covenants, as you'll see, note very specific requirements of the subdivision: lot size, you can't subdivide any of the lots,
right,
etc. And so, there are further covenants that we all have abided by going back to 1987. So I think that's one of the questions which kind of brings this solemn occasion is whether or not, you know, if this is allowed, what happens with the other covenants? And that's where it brings kind of a larger context to this discussion. Because that's, I guess, we probably haven't had a case that has been brought forth that we had to seek the guidance of the select board, probably not going back to 1994. 1994 is the year the town took possession of the road and actually took possession of the common lot, which is at Route 8. There's a triangle piece of property there. That's actually owned by the town now. And that was part of an agreement between the subdivision and the town in 1994. So I think that's the last time that the town and the Board of Selectmen have had to make a decision regarding this subdivision. But of course, then you go back to 1987 to the planning board. And it was interesting reading Peter Rushton, or not Peter, excuse me, George Seal's email. He was a planning board member and said there was quite an extensive public hearing regarding the subdivision approval, where property owners came in and had different interpretations of lot size. You know, the town did not have its current, I'm forgetting the term.
Minimum
Lot size, your ordinances, all of that hadn't been put in place yet, so it was going by a prior ordinance. So I don't know the history, whether or not, again, those covenants were a requirement of the planning board. I don't know that to be true. Our attorney for the association thinks they were, but I think that's a question for the town too, for history.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
I would like to take our attorney's advice that this is not a matter that the town has any authority to get involved in. There's nothing on the deed that indicates that the select board signed, the select board is not, the town is not a party in any way to the covenants other than this particular item. And just because the association gives the authority to the town doesn't mean the town has ever accepted it or should ever accept it. I live in a similar homeowners association, and we recently updated our homeowners association bylaws, covenants to deal with this issue of short-term rentals among ourselves. So, you know, I guess based on our experience, we didn't come to the town to say, help us solve this problem, because we are a private association. And so I guess I would think the same thing would apply in this case, that I don't see that this is a matter for the town, to get involved in at all, and you would have to solve it within your association. And whether you want to change your bylaws, change the covenants to prevent that. But the other thing I would say is that we are setting up an ad hoc short-term rental committee to look at these issues, because they are creating a short-term rental situation is creating issues throughout the town. And so we are, if you would like to get involved, anybody from Loon Cove would like to get involved on that committee, we're actively looking for members to serve on that committee to help us decide if the town should get involved in regulating short-term rentals in any way. And it would have to be ultimately approved by the voters, because it would be an ordinance. But it's an issue, the whole issue of short-term rentals is something that, you know, we are very much aware of from other properties, and the effect that these properties are having on water quality of the lake, and, you know, neighborly relations and all that sort of thing.
Anyone else have any comments?
Yeah.
Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I ran into kind of the same thing when I owned a piece of land out in Fayette back a few years ago. I finally got rid of a piece of land. They had some very restricted covenants that a lot of the neighbors weren't following. Matter of fact, there was an airstrip as part of the covenants that when I bought the property was forest because it grew up. You know, there was just a bunch of stuff. And unfortunately, when a lot of these are written, you can't foresee the future of what's going to happen. There's another part of this that you got to look at right now. It says you can't have fowl and animals kept on the property. Well, now there's also a Maine law, as part of the Maine Constitution, that you can keep chickens on your property, and the right to food, part of the right to food thing. So there's a lot of things that may have to be looked at. So I went to Fayette when I was having troubles with that, I said, nope,
Yeah.
nothing
not
to do with
ideal.
us.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna have to follow our lawyers thing and probably push it back to.
Melanie, do you or Peter have any feeling? I mean, I don't think this is our jurisdiction. I think this is something that the association needs to work out with the owner. And I do encourage you to look at that ad hoc committee, because there are, I think I know of 4 or 5 instances which are either have brewed over or are brewing, and we've had people come to the board that short-term rentals, and that's why we're doing a committee to look at it. And it may not be anything we can do, but to see if there's anything we can do to work along that area. So that's sort of my feeling on it. Do we want to entertain a motion at this point? Or I move that I can do it. I move that we do not have standing to enforce the covenant for Loon Cove Association.
Second.
Any further discussion? Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. I empathize with you because I know how difficult some of those can be if you have that short term, but it's really not our purview. I think it's where we're at this time.
No, you're taking the vote and move forward, if I just might. I think the historical question of why the selectmen for the town of Belgrade are expressly written in the covenant 1.18, I think is a question that probably should be answered. Whether or not we can determine the historical significance of that, and whether or not the planning board did require that back in 1987 is important. Set aside the short-term rentals piece.
Right.
You know, you do, that language is here, and that this language was filed with registry of deeds in 87, the subdivision was approved. And it's there for a reason. You know, there could be other issues that come up in the future.
Right.
And could go back to that as precedent. So I think it would be it's interesting to find out why that's in there and why is it a requirement of the planning board. So
I will say I've been involved in a couple of associations, and when some of them, there were things in them that were the person who was putting them together took sort of my term, boilerplate pieces or things that came in, and no one thought so much about it, and we had a huge legal situation where I used to live over the exact same thing, and it was like, oh, maybe that. So I don't know, if it turns out that the town required something, then I think we would go back to our attorney and relook and see if we had any position or any standing. And without that, we all voted for it, feel that that's where we have a position.
Essentially, it should change everything that's like this approval. There's associations like.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got one quick question. When did you say the town took over the road in that triangle?
1994.
Yeah. The Girl Scouts planted the trees and then trying.
Yeah, there was I looked through our files of the association, there was a very extensive set of documents between the association board and the town and the selectmen as to that basically transfer rights of way, property. Yeah. I mean, it was quite extensive. I was away at college. Well,
the reason I was asking is I can understand select board being in that paragraph if that was altered or then amended after we took over, because now the town is a property owner in that.
Right.
So,
But not in 1987.
but not in
1987, yeah.
Mary, do you think, is it possible we have records of the subdivision ordinance from 1987, like that, I'm gonna call it the original version.
Yeah, most likely we do,
I only ask because maybe an examination.
as long as it existed in 87, it should have. Because they created subdivision.
This declaration of protective covenants is dated 20th July 1987.
And evidently the town, according to George Seal, had a 1-year moratorium on subdivisions after that subdivision plan was approved.
Oh, okay.
So.
Ours was approved before this.
Certainly it must have been quite a distance.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what the shape of that original ordinance was. During, I might say, the heyday of some of the subdivisions that were coming in. I'm just asking because perhaps they could shed light on how things were considered
At that time.
Yeah, appreciate that. So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for bringing this
Thank
in.
you.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You want an application
Thank
for
you.
short-term rental?
We'll go back to the association.
I'll send you one email, Dana.
We need all perspectives.
We
to
do
be
need all
represented.
perspectives. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Very much. We have another property that are still online, you can ask them.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
Yeah,
Okay,
We are looking for members for this ad hoc short-term rental committee.
yeah. Did you have another comment, Kate? Or?
No, we're done.
No? Okay.
No.
Sorry,
Alright.
no, thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Okay, next item is the employee handbook update, section 1 through 4. Laura.
So, Barbara, Mary and I are meeting weekly to go through the, current, handbook and make updates to it. So what you have, I think I sent this out, several days beforehand, so you've got plenty of time to look at it. Section 1 through 5, I believe, of the recommended updates. Fairly straightforward. Trying to update to current times and how things are done. I believe, Barbara, I think you found an error on the very last.
Yeah, on the very last page that one is sent out. Where it says the town manager has authority and discretion to approve all training and courses. There should be a period there. The part about held within the state of Maine, the rest of that should have been stricken, but instead it got underlined, so it was just unclear.
Where was that one, Barbara?
The very last.
Page 15, the very last sentence.
So it should end with courses.
It should end with courses, period. And we're not looking for any kind of approval or anything tonight. This is just right to see if anything jumps out at anybody and if there are any questions.
So maybe the board wants to go through it page by page as to our reasoning for why we made the changes that we made. Just a thought.
I don't know. I mean, I've read through and I did have a question on one area.
So should we just start at the forward? And also, we thought maybe this should be called the employee handbook and not the employee guidelines. So that's a consideration also. Because it kind of is a handbook in a sense, but I don't know, for maybe some of our reasoning as to why we've made some of the changes that we did. And
Well,
if there's any discussion, like on the forward.
Did anyone come, I mean, I have questions on pages 11 and 12.
So Mary's point, maybe we should just go through.
Just go through each one.
Do it.
Page, because it seems to make sense rather than going back and forth.
Okay.
Let's go through it.
And
All right, so page 3.
So Lorna, you're gonna go through page 3.
So the forward, employment, we crossed out guidelines, updated with policies and procedures.
Yep.
Any provision, of course, took out that guidelines again, put in handbook. Employees are required to read, understand, and adhere to the policies and procedures. Again, updating the language employee handbook. And
You're checking with legal on the
Oh.
last section.
yeah, we need to check with Bill on that. I'll make that note. We just wanted to make sure that we needed that or how that should be worded, that very last sentence.
Mhm.
And so a lot of those changes were just grammatical and changing wording,
Mhm.
not.
Kind of brings
very
us up to date.
significant, right, just.
The next page, section 1 that stayed the same.
Yep.
Section 2, that first paragraph is the same. The next paragraph took out,
This is sexual harassment.
Sexual harassment,
right, is
Aspect.
deliberate.
because that's included in the
The
harassment and
It's
bullying.
redundant.
You're right.
Right, yeah,
Which would be. which would
We
be
have a
included.
separate policy for
right, for
that.
that, right.
Makes
Yep.
perfect sense.
Yeah.
Next.
Hiring, recruitment, job vacancy. I don't know if we took out, we took out that whole first paragraph and then I think we added.
Right,
We
Reworked it, yeah.
A 7-day advance notice of job vacancies will be given to current employees prior to seeking outside applicants. If the position cannot be filled with in-house candidates, new candidates for employment will be required to complete an application form that will be maintained on file by the town for a period of 1 year. In the event the candidate becomes an employee, his or her application will become part of their permanent employee file. Employees will also be required to sign a record of receipt that acknowledge the receipt and understanding of the employee handbook. Section 4 took out 6 months and put in 90 days.
We felt it was important to cut that down through having had some history there. The 6-month period is a long time.
I think when we all talked about it, within 90 days,
we know,
Yeah.
whether that person is
gonna
be
work
able
out
to-
or not.
to
Mhm.
handle the job or not.
This provides you a little more agility rather than
Right.
half a year.
Yes. And then added in the object of the probationary period is to determine the ability of the employee to adhere to required work standards through a period of observation and review. The department head will ensure the employee is advised in writing if work is not being performed satisfactorily. The department head may recommend to the town manager the removal of an employee who is unable or unwilling to perform the duties of a position satisfactorily, or whose work habits and dependability do not merit continuance in municipal service. And that was,
Next.
yeah, all on that page.
So under part-time employee, what was the reasoning for adding that, that last line there?
Because that was not in there previously, the earned paid leave.
Oh.
It's a new state law,
Right.
or new,
Sorry.
new since
Yes.
the language was last
Right.
changed.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And we have somebody that does qualify for that. So.
Yeah, we do.
So here's the question I have. On the previous page, we say a full-time employee is to work the standard work week determined by the select persons as 40 hours. And then when you go to part-time employee, it says the incumbent shall be required to work a standard work week of less than 32 hours per week. And I guess for me, as I was reading through this, it seemed as though, and then up above, we say in permanent part-time, an employee in this category works less than the normal work week, 40 hours. So I think we should use standard work week, but I was confused by the 32 hours, and that just maybe my brain. But
I'm not sure where that came from. That was in place. Do you have historical knowledge on that.
I don't, there's the permanent part-time and then the part-time employee, was that?
Part-time employee, but at least 20 hours or more per week.
Work is the ones that you changed when you were.
Yeah, but the permanent part-time is like, Wes is permanent part-time, Elena at the library.
But I guess I would think.
So they were
Wording the standard
Why is
work
it-
week
Oh,
instead
you're
of
saying
normal.
normal versus
Normal,
standard.
that say standard instead of
Oh, we can
normal,
check.
I think that, and then,
to be consistent.
but I question where you, in the next line, to work a standard work week of less than 32 hours per week. Is that, it sounds like we're,
Isn't that the definition? We didn't make these up, isn't that the?
Well, they did
incumbent-
get changed a while back.
The
Yeah.
incumbent shall
Probably
be
a
required
year
to
or so
work
ago,
a
this
standard
board
work
changed
week.
it.
So they need to work a standard work week of less than 32. So their standard work week will be less than 32 hours per week for a part-time employee.
okay, so not
They're
saying
working
that every
less.
standard, that different employees are gonna have a different standard work week. Is that what we're saying?
A part-time employee will work no more than 32 hours a week is the way I read that.
Up to, am I?
Is that how you
Up
read
to
it?
I'm saying up to 32 hours, and then I think the permanent part-time, I think is up to like 39 hours.
Yes, I think it does.
That's how I'm understanding.
Works less than the normal
Yeah,
work week.
less than 40, but at least 20.
Right.
Okay,
But
it was
aren't
the
these-
standard
aren't-
work week that was throwing me.
Yes, so
But aren't these
instead of
aren't these definitions from the federal?
No, we-
or the state?
no.
No,
We
the towns that
updated
made their own.
Well, just several months ago.
Yeah, but it didn't, the permanent part-time, that was 39 hours and not 40. Remember
Well,
we
it says
talked about
less
that?
than the normal work week.
Right, it says an employee
Less
in this
than-
category works less than the normal work week
Of 40
of
hours.
40 hours.
Oh,
So I
So
would
they
say
could
less
have
than the
less.
standard work week, so we're consistent.
Less than work.
I don't know,
Okay, so you want the standard 40, you want the 40 hours to be the standard work week. And not standard in one place and normal in another
Right.
place.
Right.
Okay, we can
Right.
do that.
Standard.
but then, when you get to a part-time, we'll be required to work a standard work week. We're using the same terminology. So maybe that's appropriate. It just to me is like, wait a minute, we just said standard was 40. So now we're talking standard is less than
Well, so that
32.
we could just take out standard, a work week of less
She'll
than 32
work
hours.
Right. You could
less
use that
than
word
32 hours per week. That's what was confusing me.
now. Right.
So,
So would
and
it
I'm
be okay
still
to,
confused.
well, I think it's great to see clarity here. So if we, can we suggest or consider striking a standard work
Week, right,
week
Of less.
yeah.
to work?
Or shall be
of less?
required to work
Yeah.
less than 32 hours per week.
Yeah,
Take
yeah.
out
So,
the-
Just
So
take out
from
that,
A to of,
Yeah.
a standard work week of,
right, and then that,
these less than 32 hours per week.
right,
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yep. And is that consistent
Wait,
with our
can you say
definition?
that again?
Absolutely.
Where is
So
this
I'm-
under part-time employee?
Yes.
right here.
Part-time employee to strike, so where it says the incumbent shall be required to work, I'm suggesting to strike the following words, a standard work week of.
It should, yeah, so an incumbent will be required to work less than 32 hours per week.
That makes better. Better.
Then you don't have that,
Yes, agreed.
Better.
so.
Yeah.
But that's all I
But
saw.
isn't the idea of the part-time? Oh, it will vary, the schedule will vary, okay,
Right.
I see, yeah,
Right.
yep,
Yeah.
we're going to say it'll vary, yeah, okay.
Okay,
So you have the earned paid leave added in, department heads. We updated, those, so facilities maintenance director / sexton
right,
exempt. Took out some of the extra language there that you don't need. because they update that all the time. So the reference could be old. And then under the employment status by position updated, the rec assistant. And the title for facilities maintenance / sexton. On page 14. Taxpayers are entitled to the best service we can provide. Cooperation of all employees in the workplace is essential to the effective operation of a small municipality. So basically, we rewrote this to sound better, flow better. We pride ourselves in being a customer-oriented operation. Courtesy, cooperation, and assumption of responsibility are key elements of good service. Under relations with the public, we rewrote that paragraph to flow better again. So town employees must avoid any action or conduct that might result in or create the impression of using public employment for a private gain, giving preferential treatment to any person or organization, or losing impartiality in the conduct of town business. Employees must avoid engaging in any conduct that could reflect unfavorably upon the town or disrupt efficient municipal operations. Under business activities lower on that page, no employee shall actively engage in any, we took out outside, so any business activities other than his or her regular duties during normal work hours. And confidentiality. It is inappropriate for employees to discuss information outside the office or with individuals who do not share access, not that.
Classic mistake. So many that's.
The last page. Any work-related injury or illness must be recorded at once to the employer's immediate supervisor or town manager. As a condition of employment, employees shall attend and participate in such training programs and courses as may be directed by the town manager or department head. The town manager has authority and discretion to approve all training and courses instead of including within the state of New York.
Yeah. And I'm on page 13. This might just be a formatting thing, the way it came out. But we have facilities maintenance director / sexton. And then we have this, oh, I'm sorry, facilities. Those are the permanent part-time. I'm sorry. So facilities is something else. Correct. And then assistant sexton maintenance.
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought that facilities somehow went with facilities assistant sexton. But just like with the library, where we just say library, but we don't have a title for them. And we have facilities, but we don't have a title. And I know we talked about that, but.
Why do you have two libraries that are permanent, part-time, non-exempt?
Because we have two
positions.
we have part-time positions.
So in some ways.
This is a type of position.
I know, I think we should give library,
Full-time,
basically library assistants. And
We're doing the same thing.
And facilities.
Yes.
Yep.
So it should be just one.
Right.
It's a category of.
Right. You just
Correct.
need one.
Because that's confusing, take out and leave just one there, and the same with library, right?
I would think.
but there is just one for facilities.
There's facility.
Yeah, we only have one permanent part-time for facilities.
But if we call them facilities, call the position facilities.
Facilities. Yeah, something.
Something,
Because
not just
facility
facility.
makes me think of facilities.
Right.
It's a facilities.
Right. I'll ask
It's a
for,
title.
Something like facilities assistant.
Yeah,
And then for clerk, should it be town clerk?
Yes.
And we
Yes,
don't need two
at
deputy
town,
clerks,
yeah,
right?
at town, yeah.
We do
Okay.
have 2 deputy clerks.
So I do want to note though, so right now our treasurer is also the tax collector. Historically, that has not always been true. That doesn't go hand in
You
hand.
might wanna split it up.
So
Yeah.
you may want
Tax.
to,
Treasurer,
because I gave that some
collector.
thought the other day, I'm like, well, I was the tax collector
right.
before
So
I left, and so
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be the treasurer.
Right, yeah.
With the same things,
Yeah.
with the same thing applied to the
Maintenance.
sex, with the same thing applied to the
Sexton.
sexton.
Yes.
And
And the
facilities
facilities
maintenance.
Yes.
They were.
I would think so. They are
Previously.
Because they were previously, weren't they? Separate?
Yes.
Yeah,
One other thing that's not on here too is your fire chief, it's a stipend.
Yeah.
It's a stipend every year, it should be on the list. And also, going back to that, the last page where it talks about the town manager approving the courses and stuff.
Yes.
I don't think you're gonna find Dan coming over, getting approval from you to send the guys to firefighter 1 and all these other trainings, so I think you're gonna have to
Yeah, you're gonna have to
change something.
Yeah, there eventually.
Yeah, and why would,
Because fire and EMS is probably different.
Well,
and why are we adding that in?
it says employees will, shall attend programs and courses as may be directed by the town manager or department head.
Yeah, they say this.
Approval by.
The town manager has authority and and discretion to approve all training and courses.
Doesn't mean that you
That
have.
doesn't mean,
Right.
it isn't a.
Right, doesn't mean that I
Yeah.
Okay.
so are we agreeing we're taking out, we're only gonna have 1 deputy clerk?
Yes,
And we're only gonna have 1 library, and we're only gonna have 1 assistant or transfer station?
But you could have 3 deputy clerks or something.
Right.
You could
Right,
have-
I mean, you have multiple
We
people,
have
but
That's just the name of it, that's just
that's
the
the
name of the position.
position, yeah, we
So
don't.
we need to have an assistant or
replicate.
something for transfer station as well, because that's just transfer station.
But you
Yeah.
get 2 transfer station,
We have 3 of them. Transfer station, transfer station.
we have a permanent part-time, and then, oh, yeah, you do have the 3.
That's just redundancy.
So we just take out 2 of them,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
But, Dan, you said we need to add fire chief?
Yeah, it's a stipend position,
yes, and then,
so.
Okay.
So it took us 3 meetings, and there was a lot of conversation, so we do want you to know that, you know, there is an index and that things were put in randomly, like policies. What we want to do is take out those employee policies and put them right at the end of the document. We did have some questions that came up also. And before we move forward, I think that we wanted to talk to the board about it. And that was, some people want to see a pay scale, some people don't want to see a pay scale.
That's in the next section that we're.
That's in the next section that we were looking at, we actually skipped over because there was so much discussion on some of this that we brought forward. But I don't know, what's the board's thought? You wanna see a pay scale in there, or how do you feel about that?
I thought we were gonna save that discussion until we had a recommendation.
But if we have an idea in moving forward, then, yeah.
I would think we could do, my thought is that we could do an appendix A, minimum and maximum, so that when we go to update something, we're just updating appendix A or appendix D or B or whatever.
Okay, so
To
can
get, so that would be my suggestion.
and I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I know, I'm just,
And so the thing is that there are people that do multiple jobs and take on multiple positions. So we have Kelsey, she's also the MD agent. Do we consider that just part of a deputy clerk job? Because it doesn't necessarily have to be. So when we look at that, to me, it's hard to put a number on the value of an employee. Because I think your employees are your biggest asset in this town. And so you have Nick, he does treasurer, he does tax collector.
Kelsey also does the planning board minutes,
And she
which
does
we
planning board
were
minutes.
paying
So
someone
she's taking on
hourly to
additional
do.
duties. I mean, we
Yeah.
want Ian to take on additional duties. I have additional duties. You know, so it's hard, you can't just put numbers in a box because that box doesn't necessarily fit that one title. And so when I look at the MMA salary survey, it's not a fit for our municipality, I don't feel like, and I feel like, your employees are your biggest asset, and you have to look at the value of the employee and the position and the job that they do. But that's all I have to say. So anyway, we
So
did
the
not do
next, so
anything
the
with
next,
that.
the next time we bring 10 pages, it will have
Yeah.
more specifics about the employees.
Right, so I mean, Dan, how do you feel about that? Do you think there should be a pay scale?
I don't think it should be a pay scale because I think it's gonna all depend on the employees and what they do.
Okay.
So you're gonna be changing pay scales constantly.
Well, that's it, because, right. And so I think I kind of wanted to get a feel on that before, you know, we start going into the next part. I mean, this whole document is what now, 52 pages or something? It took a long time for us to get through
Well, and I
this.
do think where we have the acknowledged receipt, there needs to be a double check. You need to acknowledge receipt. Because we're asking them to be handed a handbook and say, I have this and I understand it.
Yeah. No,
So
we
that's
do
us.
acknowledge, they do have to sign a receipt, we hand that out, they sign a receipt, it goes into their employee file. Every time.
States here a receipt that they received it and understand.
No, we have them sign a receipt for
Because that's
having
not what this
received
says now.
physically the document.
So what this says now is receive and understand, which needs to be a two-part thing.
Receive, sign, and understand.
It's one form.
Read,
It's one
understand,
form.
read, understand, and.
It's like a committee application.
Right, and then it goes into the employee file, so
Right.
that way they've acknowledged, they've been through it, and,
Unless you're gonna hand it to them and then give them time to go read and digest 52 pages and
Well,
make
that's
sure
it.
that they understand it,
Yeah.
because there's a lot of nuances here.
Right, are we gonna give them a
We're not-
test to make sure that they understand? What's the determination?
It's up to the employer.
It is, they have to take some responsibility.
Right. So, Mary, talking about the salary schedule, keeping that in mind. My thinking would be to not include it unless there was clear roles and responsibilities per job description. If it ever crosses over, like it does now for us in our small town, I think it's just too murky. Based on who is available, who has what skills, who is dependable to do whatever so that's my opinion.
okay.
So right now, I think they should be, for like the town, one of the clerks out there. We should have basically, as a group, not necessarily advertised, but the base salary. That clerk wants to get certified and do BMV. That entitles you to a little bit of a raise. You're gonna do something, take a class, do something else, that might entitle you to a little bit of a raise. And you can't do that paperwork all the time, because
Well, and I've encouraged like the executives out front to get their certifications. And to me, when you get your certification, which usually takes at least 2 years,
you're worth more.
you're single, then you have to keep it up. Every 5 years, you have to keep up that certification, and then you can get your lifetime. And it only took me 15 years to do that. So anyway, but, okay. I wanted to know, you know, because we've had that discussion, and yes, we're gonna discuss it at the next meeting. But I just kind of wanted an idea, because I don't want to bring something that, you know, people aren't gonna be happy with. I think Carol would like to see a case study.
That's why everyone has a vote, right? You know,
Okay.
so.
And to me, the ideal would be if you had clear delineations for specific job duties,
Right.
then you could get there.
Mhm.
But when you don't, and you depend on each other and there's crossover, then I think we have to go, in my opinion. right?
No,
Lean on it.
I don't just,
It's not like the city of Augusta where you go to the city of Augusta, you do this job.
Right.
This is your job. This is your range.
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year, 3 year, but you still do just this job.
Right.
And,
Yeah, and that's an easy way to have a pay scale.
That's an easy way to have a pay
You're
scale.
making widgets,
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
That's what you're doing, day after day after day.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm open.
Okay, well, thank you for all your work, because I know you spent hours.
We have spent hours, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, just so you know, coming up, we'll have work weeks / hours. We'll have wages, expenses and time sheets.
Yeah.
We'll have.
We put it into a nice orderly, because right now, you know, you've got the harassment policy, which is just thrown in there, so we're just gonna move all those employee policies
Mhm.
right to the end with a nice index, just so.
That'll
this
be
is where
great.
Everything is.
Yeah.
And
I think it will be a nice,
and go through the
Nice
whole
piece when you're done.
So, and that's why we wanted to do it in short, because it would take more than one meeting to go through that whole document.
Oh,
'Cause
yeah.
We're not all gonna agree.
It can be, it's pretty tedious.
Right.
We don't always agree.
we had some interesting discussions.
We do.
Yeah,
All right,
okay,
thank you.
all right. Is there any other business that's not, that needs to come before us? No? Okay, let's go to warrants. Woo. Okay. I move we pay warrant number, approve warrant number 58 in the amount of $31,616.58. All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, that's 5 yeses. I move that we approve, the payroll warrant number 59 in the amount of, $19,424.88.
Second.
AP one.
Hmm?
AP.
Oh,
not
AP
payroll.
one? Yeah. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Okay, oh, that's 59, I'm sorry, and I move we approve AP warrant number 60 in the amount of $592,507.41.
Yes. Barbara seconds.
Barbara seconded, yep. So is there anything here that anyone has a question on?
But you have to fix on pool roads.
Laurel, and you got dropped down,
How'd that happen?
long one.
I'm sure that comes up facility like,
Can I ask on page 4 what the chart doctor did for $3,600? Page 4.
I believe, Sister Girls, even.
It says grass care.
I had that question too.
Because that was a huge chunk of money.
Is that for the ticks?
The term
That's for the
doctor.
ticks, then we need to do something different because mosquito banditos is $200.
This is what Center for All Seasons Grass Care.
Wasn't the drugs, was
I was gonna ask, was it for drugs? I mean, I don't know.
it? I'm not sure.
They don't have a lawyer going to crack that.
Yeah,
All,
that's why I was like, $3,600 is a foolish amount of money.
When I saw that, I thought maybe they. it was for the village green.
Doctor one here.
That's there somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
00253. Go ahead,
Right.
Oh, yeah, no, I see it, but I'm looking for the invoice. And their alphabetical, but I don't see that.
There's a lot of money.
Terminex.
Should be the next one if they're alphabetical.
This Terminex, the ones that did it, should it say?
No, it says church doctor.
Yeah, it says a permanent.
Is it Terminex that did it?
With the term that's written on this warrant.
Oh,
No, but
but yeah, there's no Terminex on the line.
no.
That was $1,400. Terminus.
Hmm.
Terminus.
Oh,
It's not on the list.
well, medical
Unless
industry.
it's,
This is. I need AP warrant 60, this is 55. That doesn't.
That could be the problem.
57,
Just stay.
59, I'll even have 60 out here.
It's yes. Do you want to go there?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I didn't have, none of these were. Oh, we're getting tonight, so I didn't.
Sorry, we were
Right.
kind of busy. I was gonna do
No,
that.
that's fine, that's fine.
It's really the only question I had is that one.
Could we?
Oh, they're gonna go get the forms.
Yeah. I don't know if we can move on to the other ones. We can just wait.
61. 61.
Oh, you want to-
We have a motion on the floor.
We have a
Second.
motion on the floor and seconded.
We'll just resolve it. Or
By the
resolve
time
the
table
matter.
it, amend it and pull it back
Yeah.
and do a cartwheel and a split.
Yeah. Which one do you want? You want to do the other one?
I'll do the cartwheel.
Called me, and he said, I'm out here. and I
I'm not saying it's gonna be pretty, but I
And
can do
said,
it.
it's near County Walls, I said, I looked,
Just past it.
I said, I looked up the address, this is the address, he said, I've been up and down, he said, I see a tiny limb.
And it's
You
not
think
there.
that's it?
It's not huge.
And I
but it's
said,
enough to come
and I
down
said, I
without-
don't know, but if you see something hanging, tear it down. And he said, okay, I will.
You know, it's probably, what, 8 feet long?
Yeah.
About
Yeah,
an
I
inch
think
around.
I was on the phone with him when he was out there.
That thing
They
comes
just
down
come
the
right
rock, causes
through.
an accident,
I know.
because they swerve.
So
Right.
he didn't take it down, so I need to call him again.
And the other day.
State land.
Yeah, they just set up a truck there and get a long pole and knock it out.
This doesn't say. It says Belgrade Recreation. It's just, this is a service agreement. There's
Maybe it's for
no,
the field.
there's no description. This could be for the workman field,
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice to
I
have
bet you.
is my guess. Cause they wouldn't, I'm sure he didn't have anything done down in Center for All Seasons. Probably at the workman field.
So it's not for all seasons, it should be.
Right. Well, right, it shouldn't say Center for All Seasons. It came out of
Recreation.
right,
We should both be there.
Yeah,
but it doesn't
Word.
say on the invoice.
I still wanna know why it's for, or I'm gonna yes on it.
I should remember facilities.
I'll hold this.
You know, for all I know, they may be taking it out of rec and treating the village green for their concert series. You know.
Would still come out of the rec department, right?
Right, so I won't know what it's for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could have been fun too. Who knows?
Okay, can we get that answer tomorrow? Or
Not tomorrow, but Thursday.
Thursday, yeah, okay.
So what do we do with this AP warrant?
Subtractive now.
Subtract the amount.
We can subtract the amount. That means turf doctor has to wait 2 weeks to get paid.
It's a big company. Feels about it.
Okay. So,
Next time they should send an invoice,
Just
just
call
state what
it.
it's for.
It's not Corey, it's Dean.
It's Dan.
Is it Dan?
Mhm.
Just subtract
what was it, 303?
3605.70.
dash 70.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking it would be. You know. Fertilizing, everything else out of the
Right.
village green, but
Yeah,
I
I'm
can
sure,
call,
I'm sure it's fertilizer, but that, you can go that long, it's really.
that's
Should
still.
be 588-901-71.
Yeah, 508-901-71, that Melon,
588-901-71.
right,
More than calling
Okay.
Dan.
Learn to
I'm
spot,
gonna
wait,
call-
learn to spot Dan.
yeah, okay.
I know. Turf doctor or pigeon mounts.
Take it back.
One or the other.
Off duty.
Yeah, that's all. Negative, okay.
Okay, so I move we amend the AP warrant 60. The amount of, removing the 360570 for turf doctor to come down to an amount to approve of $588,901.71.
Sorry.
Right? Okay, second. So can we, vote on the amendment? Melanie?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Barbara?
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes. And then let's vote on the new, go back to the original.
So do we have to vote down the original and then?
No, we amended it.
Okay.
Just the new total.
So we just voted, so we don't need another vote because we voted the,
Correct.
right, okay.
Okay, thanks.
Or did we just, okay, all right. Are we good? Okay. All right, and now I've lost my place. I move we approve, payroll warrant number 61 in the amount of $26,273.40.
Second.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
yes,
Dan?
Yes.
I'll vote yes, 5-4. And then I move we approve warrant, AP warrant number 62 in the amount of $6,209.31.
Second.
All in favor, Melanie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Barbara?
yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes as well. We go through the warrant. Which brings us to the town manager report.
Good night.
Good night, Mary.
Thank you, Mary.
Good night.
Have a good evening.
So,
Ordinance to you. Ordinance.
attended the monthly KV cog board meeting via Zoom, the fire station building committee meeting, and special town meeting. Information on the paid family leave law will be, we will be required to begin contributions in 2025 with benefits in 2026. And on the electronic version of this, you can get there for information. Basically, it will be a 1% contribution rate. The town can pay the full 1%, or the town can do 0.5%. And the employees 0.5%. So we'll have to look about that at budget time.
Okay.
It'll be over 10,000, probably $10,000. Ballots are available for the state primary, RSU 18, school budget and town referendum. Last day for absentee ballots is Thursday of this week. Mary Vogel, Victoria Alexander, Nick Poole, members of the Senior Resources Committee, and I planted flowers in the cemetery for Memorial Day, along with help from our facilities and cemeteries crews. The offices of Senators Collins and King have confirmed that our grant applications have moved on to the next step in the grant process. The Memorial Day service was well attended and the rain held off. Many thanks to Mary Vogel and Corey Alexander and his staff for working so hard on this very important event. The summer newsletter is complete and has been mailed out to residents. We have committee openings for ad hoc short-term rental committee, Belgrade Water District trustee, Board of Appeals, Senior Resource Committee, and Transfer Station Committee. A notice was included in the summer newsletter. Copies of the recent speed study for West Road and McGraw Pond Road were sent out to interested parties. The state was contacted to remove a dangerous branch on Manchester Road, Route 135, which we just heard they have not done yet, and they were on the phone with me. Proposals for tree services are due this week, and results will be included on your agenda for the second meeting in June. The RFP for tree services was sent out to businesses in Augusta, Sydney, Waterville, Augusta, Oakland, Mount Vernon, Rome, and Belgrade. Comprehensive plan chapters include capital investment and fiscal capacity this month. Tax lien notices will go out Thursday, the 30th. The tax lien date will be July 1, since June 29 falls on a Saturday. Striping in the village has been completed as approved at the May 21 select board meeting. We are waiting for solvent pricing through the state. We should have those numbers in the next few weeks for the board to review at an upcoming meeting. We have received pricing from KBCog at $75.35 a ton. The speed signs have been installed on the to the north of the village in Neither Lakes Fire Station, south of the village on Route 27. I noticed coming down that they have those shut off
They're
now.
shut off now.
What they did was they installed and got them up and running. The gentleman who calibrates and sets those up electronically was on vacation. He is back this week. So when I called the state, they said that they would make sure it was taken care of this week.
So it's
because they were
not just displaying in
right.
kilometers.
They weren't. They were reading, I was doing 24 and it read 44 at first and then 41. I'm like, I wasn't going that way. The pickleball committee is planning another yard sale on June 30 in the village. They're also planning on selling t-shirts and totes at the summer music series. And then upcoming meetings, planning board, the 6th, Lakes and Natural Resources, the 11th, DMS committee, the 10th, select board, the 18th. Planning board, the 20th, senior resources, the 24th, Lakes and Natural Resources, the 25th, and the first village green concert is the 27th. I received a notification very late this afternoon from Friends of Belgrade Lakes Village. They're going to temporarily close the parking area project for safety reasons. It's my understanding the cement slab is still there and there are pins and things sticking up out of them, and of course the drop off to that adjoins to the village green. So they'll put up some signage and continue to work on the project, but I got an email from Kathy Atkinson that said they were gonna close it temporarily. Oh, I'm sorry.
Just a recommendation, will them step up, sell that concrete by OSHA law, but by OSHA rule, those gotta have protectors on put on them. So if somebody falls, gets hurt, the friends of the lakes.
So it's a good idea to.
Yeah, they need to
keep that.
you need to put a protector over every one of them.
Yeah.
Hammond sells them.
Cause that would be, that's dangerous.
Gaggy sells them.
Yeah.
That's those little plastic caps.
Yeah.
That water on top of them.
Yeah.
Actually, we're looking at, going ahead and having the pad removed ASAP.
Yeah, so if you don't, you wanna get that on
Right.
ASAP because it's
Yeah,
a big
absolutely.
you guys are liable for it.
Yeah.
Right. And also, fireworks will be July 3 at 9:15, and there's no rain date. That came in late this afternoon as well.
Okay.
Well, I had a question,
Yes,
if you know the answer. Does, going back to the quote for salt and KB fog,
Yeah.
is that number significantly higher than previous years, or is it just sort of marginally higher?
No, I don't think it's higher than last year. I wanted to say we were at 78 our last purchase. Don't hold me to that. I don't have it in front of me. But I can check that and send that out to you if you like.
Sure, I was just curious if this represented a significant budgetary impact.
Because last year I went to bed and my wife, Jason was doing that price.
Yes.
Okay. I move we close the meeting at 8:25.
Second.
35, sorry. No, we need a short executive session. So.
Start with
Okay, I move we go back into regular session at 8:51.
second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Melanie, Dan, Barbara.
Yes.
Okay, and no action, just report, no action was taken during the executive session. And I move we adjourn at 8:52.
Second.
Okay, so that was seconded by Melanie.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
and all of us are in favor.
All of us
Hey,
are for
Oh,
all.
all in favor.
we agree.
We agree. Everyone get up and go. All in
Thanks, everybody. I'm not gonna